Session 12. How do I keep going for the rest of my life?
So where do you start this exciting life? Well, what are you waiting for? We can never relive the last 5 minutes that have just passed, but we can make the most of the next 5. We've only got one life to live, so let's make it the best life. And the reality is that one day we're going to meet Jesus. So what we're going to say? Hey, do you remember the time when I made all that money, how clever I was, how well behaved I was? That's all good stuff. But wouldn't you rather say, do you remember that time when I used my money to help others out? How I shared my knowledge about you with my mates and it changed their lives? When I had faith to pray for that guy and he was healed? Without God, we can be good people, but with God, we can do amazing things. So, today's challenge is how to stay on track with God. How do we achieve that stuff? Well, you're not on your own. Firstly, God gave us the Bible, full of inspiration, promises, encouragement, guidelines. Secondly, communication with God is gonna be helpful, so prayer is vital. Thirdly, meeting with people who believe the same as you, and church is a brilliant place to make friends. And lastly, sharing your faith with others always reminds you how He changed your life.
Prayer is the most amazing thing we can get our hands on. It's free, it's powerful, and it changes lives. Sometimes we think of prayer as sitting seriously before God, with our eyes closed and hands together, maybe on our knees. It is important that there are times daily when we can get on our own with God like that. But to keep Jesus in the loop, to let Him in on everything, we need to be talking to Him all the time, and we can't sit like that in a crowded street. Why don't you just try talking to God in your head? For example, as you're walking into school or work, ask Him quickly to help you out. When someone says something nasty to you, say in your head, Jesus, please help me to stay calm and not fight back. If you don't have much money and you want to buy something, again ask, Jesus, is it alright for me to buy this? I can tell you now that when you include Him in this stuff, it will make a massive difference in your life. All prayer is amazing and not to be taken lightly, but the type of prayer I like best is prayers fired up quickly for other people. We have no idea of how powerful our prayers are, so if you walk past someone who looks sad, why not pray God will help them out, sort things out so they can smile again? God knows what they're going through and He loves us to get involved. We just need to pray the prayer.
So you've learnt what church is and why it's relevant for us as Christians today. Now it's time to put that into practice. Not every day as a Christian will be easy for you, and you'll need those people who understand where you're coming from around you for support. Not only that, but when you start your life as a Christian, the stuff you know really is quite limited. Learning more from the Bible and the teachings that you'll get at church is a must if you want to get closer to God and find out His plans for your life. And anything you don't understand from what you're learning, find someone who will, and chat to them about it. It's just like that football match we were talking about earlier. When you learn something amazing about Jesus, who better to share it with than all those people around you who are supporting the same team? God's team. So check out the church. Find one that has people your age and get ready to make friends, have fun, but best of all, get closer to this amazing guy, Jesus.
The Bible might seem like a dusty old book that you think belongs in church, but as we've heard in this CD, it's packed full of amazing stories about Jesus and promises for our lives. So if we don't read it, we're a little bit like a plant that doesn't get watered. We shrivel and dry up. But when we read it, it inspires us and shows us how to live a totally fulfilled life and do the stuff that Jesus did. So I challenge you. The people who know Jesus as their mate are the people who read the Bible every day and make sure they live it out. Here's the challenge, right? Try and read the Bible each day, even if it's just a little bit, and then ask God to help you to live it out during the rest of that day. Remember, the more you read the Bible, the more you'll understand about Jesus and what it means to be a Christian.
So that's it, guys. If you'll give yourself to those 4 things, I promise you, you will never regret it. I promise you that God will surprise you with all the cool things He uses you for. I love that verse in Ephesians chapter 2 where it says, God has good works prepared in advance for us to do. What that means is before you became a Christian, even before you were born, God was dreaming up good works that you would do for him. Lives that you would change, situations that you would bring Jesus to, all sorts of wonderful things that you're going to do as you get filled with Jesus and go for it in this world. My favourite verse, however, is in the next chapter of the Bible, Ephesians chapter 3 verse 20, where it says this: "Now to him who's able to do immeasurably more than all we ask or imagine, according to his power at work in us." In other words, God's able to do more than anything you could ask, even more than anything you could imagine, and he does it according to his power at work in dead ordinary people like us. God will totally surprise you and amaze you. Your life will go from black and white to colour if you will just press into the Bible. Keep praying. Get involved with your church. Give it your best shot and share your faith wherever you can. You'll find that this life starts to be what Jesus called life to the full. You'll also find when you get to heaven, there's a massive reward waiting for you. I don't want to slink into heaven by the back door and feel bad about what I did with my life. I want the angels to be blowing the trumpets. I want the saints to be dancing. I want to hear Jesus say, "Well done, good and faithful servant." The reward I'm looking for is not some heavenly Ferrari on the drive and a massive mansion. I just want there to be thousands of people who, through my prayers, my acts of kindness, my giving and my unashamed preaching, those guys are there in heaven. Don't you want that? That's what life is all about. Let's do it.
Now you've made the decision to follow God and know him personally, now's the time to do something about it. Jesus said to his disciples, "Put down your nets and follow me." That's what we got to do. Put down our old life and follow him. Get out there, live your life with Jesus, get to know him, tell your mates about him and how good he is. In Matthew 5 verse 16, it says, "Let your light shine before men, so they may see your good deeds and praise your Father in heaven." Like Jeff said earlier on, if you have the cure to some fatal disease and then keep it to yourself, what good is that to anyone? Don't keep what you found about being a Christian to yourself. Tell your mates, your family, and let your light shine so everyone can see it. Being a Christian is nothing to be ashamed of, but if you find it tough, remember in Philippians 4 verse 13 it says, "I can do everything through Christ who gives me strength." So now you've started something with Jesus, it's now time to keep on keeping on with him.